The FC26 Pro Live promo has begun, and the way this works is all these purple cards have a pro player, an esports player, attached to their card. Like Darwin Nunez, he's attached to Anders Vergang, who is one of the favorites to win the tournament. And the farther that Anders goes into the esports tournament, the higher rated and the better that Darwin Nunez becomes as a card. But I'm here to tell you that we might be buying some of these FC Pro Live cards sooner than you might expect, because they're in play on Monday and Tuesday. These pro players are playing their first games, and that means that these cards can get upgraded then. So we might be buying on Saturday, which is much earlier than what we normally buy promo cards. Don't get me wrong. As always, we're going to be selling into the hype, but let me tell you which cards today I think I'm going to be buying, which cards I think are going to be absolute jackpots during this promo, which cards you might want to stay away from. Let's hop into it. And it's also my birthday, so as a present, you have to drop a like. It's non-negotiable. What's the most important thing in FC26 Ultimate Team? It's coins. And where can you get the cheapest coins? At LootBar. It's the cheapest and it's the safest coin trading platform on the entire market. It's 10% cheaper than all the other platforms. And if you use my code Nitro, you're going to get 10% off. And if that's not enough percent, you'll get another 5% bonus added to what you order. And an extra 5% off for returning customers too. LootBar has quick delivery within a half an hour. Big creators use it, and it also has great reviews. Don't forget code Nitro at checkout. And capitalize on their Black Friday specials this week only. The FC Pro Live promo is a promo that's going to make you a lot of coins. It could also lose you a lot of coins if you're dumb, but I'm going to show you how to not be dumb in today's video. Now, here's the thing. I've recorded this video 10 times, all right? And it's so much. It's just a lot of information coming at you all at once. And I'm going to do my best to simplify it for you guys. But the basics of the FC Pro Live promo is their pro player, you know, like DH Tex, is attached to a card like Daniel James. And so you look at a card, you know, a player like DH Tex. Let me pull this card up for you real quick. DH Tex is Daniel James, right? The better DH Tex does in the promo, the higher rated Daniel James goes. You know, if he wins one match in the group stage, he's going to get a skill mover weak foot upgrade. If he wins 3 and draws 1, or wins 4, he's going to get a +1 overall upgrade of that card, which is honestly really good for that Daniel James right there. If he gets 16 points, he gets another overall upgrade, and if they qualify for the knockouts, then that's going to be a +1 overall and a playstyle plus. That playstyle plus is going to bring a lot of hype to some of these cards. But here's the thing. This promo is going to last a while, and it starts while they're still in packs. Look, the 24th of November, that's Monday, less than, you know, that's about 36 hours away. And then Tuesday, again, that's 2 days away. So you've got Group A and Group B playing this week. It's called a super match week. All right. And the reason it's called a super match week is because there's 2 match days in the same week. Okay. Group A and Group B both play this week. Group C doesn't play this week. So if you're making Group C investments, they're not playing until the December 1st. That's next Monday. It's not that far. It's honestly probably the best group to invest in, to be quite honest with you, because they're so far down in price. They haven't gone up yet in price, and there's a lot of upside. But I'll tell you when I think each group you should buy and sell, all right? So match day 3 is going to happen on December 1st, but match day 4, which is Group 8, isn't going to happen until December 8th. So a lot to take in there. But we're not going to see match day 5, which is back to Group A, until January 5th. Here's the thing. You're going to have 2 match days for every group. 2 match days for every group. Here's what the groups look like. You've got Vergang, Pajotto, Lucas, Tuga, Tex, and Yaskow. All of those players are in Group A. They're all going to play each other twice. On one match day, they're going to play once, right? So match day 1, they play everybody once. That's 5 games on a match day. That's 15 points that they could acquire on the first match day. That's on Monday. So Vergang could, in theory, be 5-0, and he could have 15 points by the end of the first match day if he was perfect, right? If he went perfect during the promo. That would take a card like Darwin Nunez all the way to 15 points, not quite the 16 that they need for the second overall upgrade. And I'm sure EA Sports did that on purpose so that nobody could get a +2 on the first match day. But that doesn't mean these cards aren't going to rise into the hype as if they're going to frickin' go to 90 rated by next week. It's not going to happen, but there's going to be a lot of hype around Darwin Nunez. So what I want to preface all of our investments with, if you want to guarantee profit, sell into the hype. Sell into the hype. And the hype is going to be the morning of, maybe the day before, maybe even during their first match day. okay? So that's Monday for Group A. That's Tuesday for Group B. But which cards are going to have the most hype? Well, that's going to be based on how good these pros are. Let's go ahead and take a look at how these guys qualified. So, Vergang, who is probably the favorite to win the tournament, he's won it before. Same for Manu Bashir. He's won this before. They're probably the favorites to win the tournament, okay? So the card that's attached to them, like Darwin Nunez, is going to go up the most into the hype. Sell then. Don't wait for the games to actually be played. Obrun, Pajotto, and Levi DeWeerd, those are all really good players too because they qualified through the FC Pro Open in 2025. Then you've also got Guy Barros and Bryce and Manu Bashir, who qualified through the World Championships in 2025. Also favorites in this tournament. The rest of the people qualified through the global qualifiers. Now, Levi DeWeerd, who's up here, he qualified through both the Pro Open and the World Championship. He obviously can't be in the tournament twice, so Nicholas 99 FC, he kind of got a gift into the tournament, and so he qualified based on being like one of the best players years ago, but he didn't qualify through the global qualifier this year. So he kind of got like that wild card spot, got thrown into the tournament. Now, this is a big name because he used to be regarded as the best player in the world. I don't know how good he is this year because obviously he didn't qualify the way that everybody else did. Now, here's some other names to watch out for. Emre Yilmaz, always good in these tournaments. DH Tex. Tex is a big name, okay? Even though he didn't win any of the tournaments last year, he's won tournaments in the past, and he's also probably the second most famous of all of these people. So Tex is very famous, and Vergang is also very famous. So that's going to be a very hyped up card, which is Daniel James. Then you've got Umut. Umut's also won a tournament in the past. And then who else do we have in here? Those are probably all the big names that I can say out of the global qualifier. The rest of these guys is what I would consider underdogs. Not that they're bad. They're obviously incredible players, but they're underdogs. They're not as likely to win the tournament as the guys I've mentioned. So when we look at some of these investments, you've got to see, okay, Klosterman and Umut. Umut's a good player. Maybe I invest in him, sell into the hype on Tuesday morning. Maybe I invest in Xerxes because Manu Bashir is one of the favorites to win the tournament. I'll invest in a Xerxes and I'll sell into the hype of Manu Bashir playing the games on Tuesday morning, right? So that's kind of how I would do it. But Group A and Group B players have already started rising, which is crazy, and that's kind of how I prefaced this video with, is that these cards like Darwin Nunez, he's 215 right now. That card, after a few hours of being in packs, was 175. He's up like 40K, all right? That's already up into the hype a decent bit. But take a look at this. He's already been 250K at one point. He's 215 right now. I think it's very easy for him to hit 250 again. And I can say the same pretty much for all of these cards in Group A, which would be, Group A would be Nunez, Giroud, Honorat, Cal Freezy, Daniel James, and Nuno Tavares, all right? Those are all of the cards in Group A. So if you were to invest in cards and want a quick return, you might go for a Olivier Giroud at 120K, a Nunez at 210. Or if you want to really limit your risk, you could buy a Frank Honorat. This card could go down to 11K if you took the risk. But if you really wanted to hold any of the cards into the games, I wouldn't hold a Nunez. I wouldn't hold a Giroud. You could hold Honorat, and there could be some upside. I would say the upside is much higher than the downside. The downside is he goes to 11K. That's as low as he can go, right? But the upside is he could easily go over 20K. So the upside is higher than the downside. The downside is more likely than the upside. Does that make sense? The upside is higher, but less likely. So you're kind of playing the lottery with a card like Frank Honorat. But again, there's not as much risk because the lowest he can go is 11K. Whereas if Anders Vergang were to go into this tournament and he were to go 2-4, right? If he went 2-4 in this tournament, or 2-3, I guess you could say would be the first match day, or 1-4, right? If he were to go 2-3 or 1-4, which is less good than people expect him to do, this Nunez would crash in price a ton. He could go from 250 to like 125. He could halve in price, and that's no joke, okay? So there's a risk with Group A because they're already risen into the hype a little bit, and you can say the same thing for Group B. You take a look at Xerxes. I think Xerxes is the next most hyped. If we were to look at, you got Nunez, you got James, you got Xerxes. Those are the top three most hyped up cards. All of those cards have already started rising, okay? I think they go higher. I do. I genuinely think they go higher. But this card, again, 46K yesterday. He peaked at 90 already, this Xerxes. He's 60. I think there's a lot of upside still rising into the hype for Xerxes. So I would invest in his card. Maybe don't spend 60, maybe try to get a snipe, maybe try to get him for 55. You know, do what you can to get the best deal, but definitely sell into the hype. And I do think that the hype is going to make these cards rise a little bit higher. So I do like those cards a lot. And the thing is, there's not a ton of supply, even though Weekend League is going on right now, guys. You take a look at a card like even Bremer. Bremer is a card, I already bought a Bremer, I will say. I don't think it's the best investment because I'm going to have to wait till December 8th for this card to be active. But you look at Bremer, guys, I actually don't even need to set like a max price. Look at how many Bremers are on the market right now. It's not that many. You've got one page, you've got 2 pages. That's it. And these cards are live, which means that as we get closer to these cards being like active, they could get more and more rare. And they're in packs right now. They go out of packs on Friday. They could get more rare. So these cards could definitely skyrocket into the hype, but always sell into the hype because even though there's only 2 pages of Bremer right now, after Bremer's pro player plays his games in Group D, there's going to be pages and pages and pages of that card. So that's why you have to sell into the hype. But that's what I would do with Group A and Group B. But let's take a look at Group C, because Group C is going to be maybe the gold mine, okay? Because these cards aren't hyped up yet because you have to wait all the way until these games are played on December 1st. But here's the thing. That's only a week away, guys. That's 1 week away. Nobody's really buying those cards yet for Group C, and there's good investments like Fabian Ruiz for Bryce here. Bryce, obviously, we know he won a tournament this year, so he could be a favorite in this group. You also have Nicholas, 99 FC, attached to the Alejandro Garnacho. Of course, Nicholas maybe didn't qualify the normal way. I don't know how good he is this year, but he's a big name. That's what I'll say. He's a big name, and a big name brings hype, and that's what we need, right? We don't actually need him to win the games. We just need him to bring some hype, and that's what I'm expecting for the Alejandro Garnacho and the Fabian Ruiz. I don't even hate the Billy Gilmore investment. I think that's a decent one as well. His price is like 40K right now. I'm on FootWiz right here because they have a better tracker than Footbin. But Billy Gilmore, it's like 40,000 coins right now, and he's been dropping in price. He's 38K now. You look at the Index 100, Billy Gilmore is, I mean, he's one of the cards that have dropped the most in the last 24 hours. You can see you've got cards like Higazi, Honorat, Calfreezy, Thiago, Fabio, Teze, Choupo-Moting. What I would suggest for all of those cards is buy one of them right now. Buy one of them, send them to the club. Just buy them for 12K, 11.5, whatever you can get it for, send it to the club. One of those cards is going to skyrocket at some point, just randomly, okay? One of them is going to skyrocket just because their pro player does something that's unexpected. Maybe they go undefeated on match day 1 or something. They're going to one of them's going to skyrocket. You can't predict which one, but one of them's going to. Gilmore could be a good investment because he's Group C. He's down a ton in price. Giroux is down a decent bit, and he's Group A, so that could be a decent shout. That Giroux honestly could be a good shout. I really, really do like the Giroux. But Group C could be really the gold mine. So when I would buy these cards for Group C is probably in the next like 36 hours. I wouldn't wait until Thursday. I wouldn't even wait until Wednesday. Even though they could go a little lower, I think the hype starts to build on like Wednesday or Thursday as we get closer to that game being happening on Monday. So the games are happening on Monday. Now, as I said, it's 5 games from every single player on match day 1. So they could all get an upgrade in theory. Like a lot of players could get an upgrade for a +1 overall by the first match day, which I think is going to bring a lot of hype. Here's the thing. Group A is going to be kind of like our test run. We're going to see some card in Group A is going to skyrocket on match day 1. And then what's going to happen is everybody's going to start investing in Group B and Group C. That's what's going to happen is Group B and Group C are going to get super invested in on Monday night because of what happens in Group A. So that's what I'm expecting, and that's why I think getting in on Group B and Group C early is the move, and Group C especially early because it's not going to happen for another week. Now, that's how to invest in these cards. Selling into the hype is always the move, and if you want to take a risk, you take a risk with some of those cards that are a little bit cheaper, 11 to 12,000 coins. Don't take a risk with some of the big cards. But that's how to invest in these cards. That's when to invest in these cards, and hopefully it has helped you out. But if you've made it to the end of the video, I've got a deal for you that you might want to stick around. But if you've made it to the end of the video, and I saved this for those of you that make it to the end of my videos, because I appreciate you so much more than somebody who clicks off after 2 minutes. So screw those guys, all right? I'm going to reward you for sticking around. Now, you guys might remember that I was advertising this next level FUT trading earlier this year, their early bird special that they had on, where it was 2 weeks. You got it for €5. It was a great deal. It really was. But it went away because that was just for the early bird. And over the last few weeks, there haven't been any deals, and I haven't really been advertising it because there haven't been any deals. Now's your time to shine, okay? Because you can get involved, not for $34 a month like usual, okay? If you use this discount code YouTube, okay, and you apply it, you're going to get it for $1.15 for an entire month, okay? Now, it's just for a month, all right? That's all you get the deal for, but you could get it for a month, and then if you don't want to keep it, you can just cancel it before the month is over. But that's the deal. $1, €1. It's less than one Great British pound, right? And it's the #1 trading service in the game. The guy who sends you the trade straight to your phone, when to buy, when to sell, what to buy, all that good stuff. He's the #1 trader of all time. You don't want to miss out on this. Right now is FC Pro Live. You're going to make a ton of coins on that. Next week is Black Friday. Literally, this upcoming week is Black Friday. And we're going to have another video on Black Friday very shortly. But it's a big, big deal over the course of the next couple of days, guys. This is going to be absolutely massive for you guys to make coins. Get involved. The link is down in the description. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.